Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Daniel Davidson. I'm the CEO of Business Star Makers, and today I'm going to speak to you young folks who are the future business owners or professionals. And I want to teach you something about documentation, both as a physician and a surgeon, as well as a MBA and someone who has a doctorate in business administration and someone who studied in law school over and over and over and over again. In all these educational processes, documentation was reinforced so many times in so many scenarios. In medicine, everything we did, we had to document. And it was reinforced that if we didn't document, if it wasn't documented, it never happened. And in medicine, documentation could save your life, literally, as a doctor. Because uh, really, how could the next doctor know what you did? How could the nurses know what you ordered or what is going on? How could anyone know what to do when they come and see a patient that you saw just a minute ago, right? It's all about what you document. It's what you write, and what you are documenting about what you've examined and the patient is demonstrating in terms of your examination. So documentation as a physician is extremely important, obviously, right? So your detailed documentation is extremely important, and its accuracy. Then we come into business. And in business, documentation is just as important, because if you are communicating with someone in business and there is a discrepancy in, say, contract, right? You're saying something to someone and you are saying, I am going to give you 50% of whatever it is that we are generating in terms of profits. And someone is going to think that, no, I'm getting 50% of revenue instead of profit. Or let's say they're thinking, okay, I'm going to get 50% of gross profit, and you're thinking net profits. Now, that's a humongous difference, right? So if you're not writing this down 6 months down the road, a year down the road, there's going to be a huge problem. Their recollection of what was said and your recollection of what was said is humongously different. So you're going to have a litigation. And in law school, they said two people, partners, who did not have a written agreement are called litigants. That was law school. So we learned in medical school and residency that if you didn't write something down, it never happened. In business school, we were taught that if you didn't document things, you definitely got into problems. And then in law school, we were taught that if you didn't document, definitely you were going to be litigants. So you see, continuously the power of documentation is being reinforced. So you got to remember, every time you communicate with someone, it's best to document it immediately and send them a documentation by reinforcing it in an email. Hey John, it was nice talking to you. Just to document our conversation a minute ago, this is what we said. And I agree with our discussion. I hope that we end up being very successful. I'm glad we had this discussion and it was very fruitful. And then 6 months down the road, if there's a question, hey, you have a note documenting it in your email. It's legal. It was very accurately documented, A to Z. There's no questions ever that it can never be questioned. It's right there. So it saved my life, literally, professionally, so many times. I document things accurately, my emails continuously. against attorney conversations, with insurance companies, with God knows everything. Document everything. Because you know what? You never know. You really never know. I mean, everybody's nice. I really believe that 99.9% of people are wonderful. But that's miscommunication and issues that come up is not because people are not nice. It really isn't. It's just that people forget things. And then as a result, it's what you think and what they think they heard are two different versions of the same story. And then your version and their version differs. And then now you have disgruntled people who are not happy. And then someone has to sit in the middle, it's called a judge, and decide whose version is a better version. There's 3 versions to every story. In law, they say there's 3 versions to the same story. Your version, the other person's version, and then the version that the judge ends up agreeing to or believing is true. Isn't that weird? There is 3 versions to every story. Your version, the other person's version, and then the one that the judge believes is true. Unless you have it written down, then there's only one version, the one that's written down. So which one do you want? The one that's written down or the 3 versions? You decide. I think the one is much better